Okay, and we are now recording. So, hello and welcome to Experience It, Learn It, Use It with National Geographic Learning. This is the 20th session in this series of professional development webinars for English language teachers. It is the first time in this series that we are doing both a morning and an evening session. So welcome to everyone who's joined us this morning. And it is only the second time that we are streaming live on Facebook. So a warm welcome to everybody watching on Facebook Live as well. If you are on Facebook, I won't be able to see your comments directly, but my colleague, Sophia, will be there to answer your questions. So for those on Facebook, I encourage you to take part using the comments. And for those of you here on Zoom, you can chat and comment in the chat box. Please set that to all panelists and attendees so everyone can see. And if you have a particular question that you want me, you would like to ask me, okay, maybe about the program or about the grammar points we're looking at, please use the Q&A function you can see on your menu, the question and answer function, and I will answer those questions at the end. So welcome again to the 20th session of Experience It, Learn It, Use It, where you will learn teaching tips and ideas through taking part in the lesson, because we believe that the best way to learn something is by doing it. So a brief introduction, my name is William Lachette, and I am a teacher trainer for National Geographic Learning. I am originally from the UK, but I now live in Singapore, and I have been living, teaching, and training in English language teaching in Asia since 2001. So today's lesson is a grammar lesson from our adult title, World Link, and I'm using level 1, which is an A2 CEFR level, and it's from Unit 10. The unit theme is health. So World Link is a general English title for young adult or adult learners, which means it is perfect for college students, university students, or for working adults. And this brings me neatly to my first poll question. So I am going to start my first poll. So I would like to know what segments or what age groups you teach. So you have a multiple choice question here. You can select as many as you teach. If you are watching us on Facebook, unfortunately you can't see the poll because it's on Zoom, but you can type into the comments, which age groups do you teach? Do you teach very young learners, or young learners, or maybe teenagers or adults, or maybe you're not a teacher, and you can type into the comments, I'm not a teacher. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few more seconds. Okay, I can see so far from Zoom, we have about 60% have already voted. And remember, those on Facebook, I've just asking the question, who do you teach? Which age groups do you teach? Okay, I've got some comments in the chat box as well. Adults and young. Okay, I'm not a teacher, only in training. Okay, so I have about 70% have voted now, so that's 200 of you who've already voted. I'm going to end polling there, and we'll have a look at the results. Okay, so we can see here that about half of you, okay, the largest group are teaching teenagers, and then we have exactly the same, 34% of you, just over a third, are teaching adults and young learners, and a small minority are teaching very young learners. So we can see that the majority of you are either teaching teenagers or adults, and the lesson we're looking at today, I think would be relevant for both of those segments. Okay, and if you're teaching the other segments, I hope you will also find it interesting and also pick up some ideas for things you can use in the classroom. Okay, let's get rid of the poll and move on. So today, as we usually do in our webinars, is we are going to be using a piece of software which is called the Classroom Presentation Tool, or the CPT. And this really is a digital version of the textbook. but it has a lot of extra features. It has all of the audio, it has all of the video, all of the activities, interactive. So there are a lot of extra features that you can use. It's perfect for using in the classroom, but also perfect for teaching online. Just before we go on, I'm actually going to do another one of the polls here, just to see. I'm interested to know, and I'll do it now in case I forget to do it later. So one more poll, quick one. I'm interested to see how many of our webinars have you attended before? So for those of you on Facebook, you can also type into the comments, is this your first webinar with us? Is it your second? Is it your third? Or have you attended a lot in the past? So just really curious to see how many of you have attended before. This will help me to kind of gauge how much I need to explain things. Okay, great. So we've already got 200 of you have already voted. John in the chat box says, I've attended a lot. Okay, that's great, John, to see you coming back. Okay, and there we go. So we've got about 3/4 of you have voted. So I'm going to end the polling there, and I'm going to share the results. So we can see most of you, for 63%, this is your first webinar with us. So that helps me, to understand how I should explain. But we've got 19% have you on your second one, 7% have been to 3, and 11% of you have been to a lot. So that's nice to know that we have 25 of you here have actually, 25 people have actually been to a lot of our webinars, and that's great for us to know that you are coming back and watching again. So I hope for those of you in your first webinar, I hope to see you again in the future. Okay, so I'm now going to change my share. I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to swap over onto my classroom presentation tool. Here we go. So you should be able to see something on your screen right now. So can you please type into the chat box, what can you see? What can you see on your screen right now? Health, okay, health. And you should be able to see a nice picture. Can you describe? Someone says a woman running, a trail, great trail, exercise, a woman running on a trail, health, a woman running, perfect. And so yeah, what is she doing? She's running. Let's have a look. We got a few more questions, so I'm just going to zoom in on the questions here so we can see them a bit better. So this activity, we said it's running. Someone mentioned the word trail. What do you think the technical name for this sport is? Someone's put jogging, running in nature, health and fitness. So if she's running on a trail, what do you think we might call this activity? Trail run, well done. Okay, Jane, okay, she got it. So it is trail running. That's exactly what she's doing. And can anyone have a guess for me? Where do you think she might be? Okay, can anyone guess which country this might be? I'll give you a clue. She's running, it's not a field. So it's not Scotland. This is actually a lava field. So what you can see is rock, it's stone, it's lava, and Kirby has got it. Okay, Kirby, it is Iceland. So we can see a lava field covered in lichen. And she is running on a trail through the middle of the lava field. So if she falls over, this lava, do you think that's very hard or very soft? What do you think? Okay, so some have said hard, some have said soft. Let me tell you, it's very hard. Okay, so that is stone. It is lava from a volcano. It's very, very hard. So you don't want to be falling over on that. It looks soft because of the lichen, but it's not. Okay, it's very hard. I'm going to ask you another question. Do you think that this activity, trail running through a lava field, do you think this is good for you or do you think it's bad for you? Good for your health or bad for your health, and why? Cynthia says good. Aubrey says it's great. Okay, so it's good for you. Why is it good for you? It's good. Someone says bad. Alan says bad. Beneficial to health. Michiko says bad. The trail is dangerous. I could strain. Okay, I could strain my body. Okay, right. So interesting. It could be slippery, says Joy. Right. So you might fall over. So I think there are dangers, aren't there? This lady running, let's have a look and find out who she is. I'm just going to click on here and we can empty the box. So we can say this is ultra trail runner Rory Bosio, and she is running in Iceland's Laka Giga lava fields. So she is an expert runner. She's an ultra runner, an ultra trail runner. So this hobby that she does, she specializes in running long distances, so a minimum of 50 kilometers. And sometimes they do races over 150 kilometers. They just run for 150 kilometers. So she is an expert runner. So for her, it's probably safe, but maybe for us, maybe a little dangerous. So most of you are saying it's a good thing to do, it's healthy. Some of you are saying bad, it's dangerous. What I want to do now, I would like you to imagine that your friend wants to go for a run and do this activity, okay, in a lava field in Iceland. This is question 3. Your friend wants to do this activity, and I'd like you to give a piece of advice. So what advice would you give to someone who would want to try this type of activity? Can you type into the chat box for me? What advice would you give? Jane says, be careful. Yes. Be careful, dude. Be careful. You better get fit. Okay, you better get fit. Watch your step. Take extra careful. Be cautious. Check your physician. Okay, prepare and discipline. Don't buy fake sneakers. Okay, so footwear is important. Okay, great. So we've got lots of nice examples here. Don't do it alone. John, that's a very good point. Okay, you could get lost out there. Okay, so we're talking about giving advice, and I'm asking you, and we've got a lot of different kind of comments coming in. We had different forms. You better. Okay, we've got don't do it. Okay, you have to. Okay, so we've got lots of different grammatical forms coming in. I'm actually going to swap back now. I'm going to do a new share and go back into my PowerPoint, and I want to have a look at how I would present this to my students. So what I like to do with my students, I like to hand out a sentence stem. Okay, so I like to give them on a piece of paper. I like to give them the language that I want them to use. I'm just going to start my slideshow. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my chat box. I've got 62 messages since I left. Okay, so you should be able to see now my PowerPoint. Can you see the sentence stems on my PowerPoint now? Is that what you can see on the screen? Yes, thank you, Cynthia. So what I've done here is I've tried to organize some different language that my students can use so that I want them to be thinking about their ideas, not worrying about the grammar that they need to use. So we can see on the left, I've got the sentence stem. I put here you or she should. So I've got a modal verb. Then after the modal verb, I've got the second column is the grammar, okay, or the structure they need to use. And I've put in here base form. So as we know, after we use a modal verb like should, we have to use the base form. I've also put in here INF. Does anybody know what that means? Can someone type into the chat box for me? INF. Well done, John. That is the infinitive. Sometimes we call it the bare infinitive without to. So this, when we talk about the base form or the infinitive, we're talking about the same thing. Some of you might be used to calling it base form. Some of you might call it the infinitive. The third column I've got over here, I've got an example sentence so my students can actually see how they can use the sentence. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 7 different ideas here that they can use. Okay, I've got you should, you shouldn't. I've got some modifying adverbs to make it stronger. I've got here a gerund, okay, is a good idea, is important, is a must. I've got always, never, I've got you might want to, it's a good idea to, and then we've got the base form at the bottom. And I think really important here is we give the students the example sentences so they can see them. So what I would like to see now, yes, thank you, Amir. So yes, scaffolding for students, okay, we're taking the mental strain off them, we're giving them that support that we need, and we're allowing them to focus on their ideas. So using the sentence stems I've put here, I would like you again to type into the chat box some advice for someone who wants to go trail running in Iceland, okay? So I would like you to type in your ideas. So full sentences this time. Here we go, Aubrey, you should probably run with a companion. Very nice. That is exactly the kind of sentence I'm looking for. Let's see if we can get a few more. So Aubrey gave us the first sentence. So another piece of advice, you need to develop core leg muscles first. Fantastic, Roland. You should be careful in running that trail. You should definitely Google that area before going there. You should wear your fitness tracker while going on a trail run. Good. So most of you are choosing the first one. You should. Here's another one. You might want to bring a first aid kit with you. Very good. It's a good idea. Oh, I've lost it. It's coming in too fast. Okay, drink plenty of water. Okay, you should warm up first. Better if you train before running. Right, so here we go. So now I can see that we're getting much more variety of forms for giving advice, whereas before most of you were naturally using G, the base form plus the noun or the gerund. Now we've got a lot of different sentence structures coming in for a bit more variety. Okay, let me ask a couple more questions about the sentence stems that I've set up here. So you notice that some of these have 2 stars, like this one, star, star, definitely, and I've highlighted it here, star, star, always. Why do you think, if you look at the ones which have stars next to them, or asterisks, why do you think I've put these double stars next to these sentence stems? Amir is absolutely right. They are strong. It's strong advice, okay? So I feel certainty, strength of degree. It's very important that our students understand the difference between these type of sentences they can use. So the ones with double asterisks, it means it is a strong suggestion. There's one on here. One of these sentence stems is not as strong. Okay, it's a weaker form of advice. Can anyone spot which one is a weaker form of advice? One that sounds less commanding. Which one do you think is the weaker form? So we've got probably, yeah, that one. I think, yeah, Indulika, that's the one I'm going for. E, some of you have put E, that's right. Alden has put E. I think it's this one, you might want to. So when we use this sentence, you might want to, it's suggesting that I'm not as commanding, it's not as definite, right? And why do you think I might use that form of advice, or who might I be talking to? So someone says I'm not too sure. That's right. So yeah, if I feel I'm not an expert, I might use this. Cynthia says someone older. I think that's a very good point. So someone that we feel we are lower than them in social status. Okay, so maybe if you're talking to your teacher, maybe if you're talking to someone older than you, someone who's superior to you, you might want to use this form. You might want to, someone wiser. That's right. So we can see here that apart from the sentence stems, we can also give our students a lot more information about how to use them. And what I really like about using this scaffolding, these sentence stems, what I do is I print them off and I laminate them. And then what I can do with that, I can, at the end of the session, I can collect them in. And then the next time we give advice, I can give them back out again. And then, and I can do that every time with every class. I only have to prepare it once, and I can use it in a large variety of different classes. Any topic, okay, which needs to be about advice, I can give out these sentence stems. We can also, it's great for differentiation because you can do 2 sections, simpler, more basic level grammar, and then at the bottom, harder, more complicated grammar. We could also add a section on saying why, okay? So giving reasons, we can add that in. So you can make the sentence stems as simple or as difficult as you like. Okay, so that is the first activity that I like to do with my students. Okay, I'm gonna go back into my CPT, into the classroom presentation tool. Okay, so I've tried to swap over. Can everybody see that? Okay, yes, good, all right. And I'm just having a little bit of problem with my Zoom controls. Okay, there we go. Just before we move on to the rest of the lesson, just want to highlight this. On this first page, on the unit opener, apart from that lovely photo that promotes discussion, we also have very clear unit goals here, so we can show our students, this is what we're studying in this unit. So at the end, we can say to them, can you do this? Can do statements, okay? So the students understand if they are learning what they're supposed to be learning. Okay, let's go through and have a look at some of the other grammar points we're looking at today. So in WorldLink, each unit has 2 lessons, and lesson A, you can see here, is about the body. We have a video here. We have some vocabulary. We have a nice listening lesson. We have a speaking lesson before we go into the grammar. And I just want to show you something here. I actually just noticed this today, and it's something that I wanted to share with you. Just an example of why I really like the World Link program. If I can just move my, it's very, very laggy, my Zoom. I'm moving my chat box. So here, this is the pronunciation activity, and it's looking at the length of vowels. So if we look at word A here, we've got the word bag, and then B, we've got the word back. So both of these words have the same vowel sound, right? They both have the ah sound. And on the left, we've got the g sound, okay? And if we focus on this g sound, can you tell me, is this a voiced sound or an unvoiced sound? It's voiced. John says it's voiced. That's right. And how about the word on the right, back? Is that voiced or unvoiced? The word back. This is unvoiced. Sorry. So column A are voiced sounds for the final consonant, and column B is unvoiced sounds. Now, something interesting happens here, and it's something which is not usually taught. So I'm just going to model the word on the left. So this word is bag, and on the right, B, the unvoiced, is back. Now, what do you notice about the vowel sound? Okay, so the vowel, it's the same vowel, but there's something different about it. So I'll say it again. A on the left, we've got bag, and B on the right, we've got back. Right, and Rochelle has said it, long and short. That's right. So although actually when we teach the ah sound, it's a short vowel sound. We don't teach it as a long vowel sound like ah, okay? It's a short vowel sound, but there is a difference in its length. And on the left, so there's a rule here. When, yeah, Neil's just typed in the sound there, ah. So when we use a short vowel sound, and it's followed by a voiced consonant, it is a bit longer than it is if it's followed by an unvoiced sound. So all of these here, phase, face, it's the same vowel sound. It's A, but when it's followed by the voiced sound, we actually extend that vowel sound a little bit. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is, if we look at the word here, back, because k is unvoiced, it means we need to, and the vowel ah, all vowels are voiced, it means that we need to stop voicing the vowel before we can start the final consonant, which is unvoiced. So this is why a voiced consonant has a longer vowel sound before it. So this is something very interesting, and I think it's something that is not often mentioned in pronunciation in a lot of textbooks. I just wanted to mention it because it's something that, yeah, you know, something you don't often see. And this is, you know, this is for A2 level students. It's really important to get, you know, especially with pronunciation, to get people understanding these kinds of you know, these kind of pronunciation issues early, okay, before, so they can get into good habits. Yeah, so I hope you've learned something there. I just noticed this earlier on, and I thought I would put it in. Okay, moving on. Let's have a look at the grammar. So this is really as we what the main point of today's session is, and we are looking at 2 grammar points. So the first one, as I mentioned earlier, are imperatives. And I'm going to show you here, let's have a look. We can go right to the back of the book here. This is what you are used to seeing usually. In the back of your textbook, you will see an explanation of the grammar and an exercise. So, you know, World Link is the same. We have this in the back of the book, and we have a nice clear table where students can learn about the imperatives. It gives us instructions. Why do we use the imperatives? Maybe you can type in to the chat box now. Okay, so what is the imperative? Why do we use it? Just type into the chat box for me. To suggest or command, there we go, to impose a command, there we are. So obviously there are different levels of command, so command, advice, instructions, directions, lots of different reasons. And we can also make it more polite. So can someone type into the chat box for me, how do we make a command more polite? Which word do we add to it? So we could use should, there's a word we can add. It says it on the screen right now. If we want to make it more polite, we can use the word please. That is right. So we can make a polite request. Okay, we can make our instruction more of a request by adding please. Perfect. Okay, now we have an exercise we could do here. We're not going to do it right now, but I will show you what it looks like. Okay, so if I click on this button here, I have an interactive activity that I can get students to take part in. So here is an example. I feel sick, please take, and then students have to choose A or B. So please take me to the doctor, or please take some medicine. It's quite interesting here because this is a grammar activity, but actually grammatically both of these answers are correct. But the meaning, we're really focusing on meaning here. I feel sick, please take. Now I see we've got A and B both being mentioned. This is one person talking, not two. So the answer is different depending on how many people we got talking. So it's one person talking. Yeah, so it should be, please take me to the doctor. So I can choose that and I can click on the I and it tells me that is correct. If this was two people talking, the answer would be B, but it's only one. That's right. So as I said, we're not going to do this activity, but all of these questions, yeah, you have two choices. The grammar is correct. It's focusing on meaning. Let's go back into Unit 10. So I'm going to go back to page 146. And what I really want to show you about this is we have a nice little video explaining the grammar. So this is what makes this program a bit different. So we saw the grammar table in the back of the book. We're now going to watch the grammar video. I just want you to watch it and just watch it, absorb what's happening, and just think about, give me any comments afterwards. How do you feel about this video? Okay, let me just check that I am sharing sound. Here we go, share computer sound. Okay, here we go. I'm going to play the video. If it's a little bit slow for you, okay, don't worry. Okay, when we send you the video, you'll be able to watch it. We are recording the session. We can send you the video later on. Okay, so here we go. Watch the video and just think about what do you like about the video in terms of the grammar presentation.
Negative forms of the imperative. Use the imperative to give advice, instructions, directions, and orders. The imperative uses the base form of a verb.
Take that medicine. Call me tonight. Go to school.
The negative form of the imperative is formed by adding don't before the base form of the verb.
That's the wrong medicine. Don't take that medicine. I won't be home tonight. Don't call me tonight. You've got a fever. Don't go to school.
Okay, so that is the video presentation of the grammar point using the imperative. So yeah, I'd like comments here in the chat box. So was there anything, Indalika says it's a clear presentation. That's right. So I think for me, you know, presenting it in this video form, it's very easy to follow. So they only put a little bit of text up at a time, so the students can read it and they can hear it and they can see exactly what's being said. It's very simple, it's very clear, and it has very nice examples. And what I also like about it is that they take the original affirmative or positive form and then they make the same example into the negative. So, and they also introduce a sentence, okay, they say that's the wrong medicine. Don't take that medicine. So they're giving a bit of context to help the students understand when we use this negative imperative, which is to give an instruction not to do something. So this is something I really like about WorldLink. Every single grammar point has this very nice video, which is accessed through the classroom presentation tool. So the student, what I showed you in the back of the book, they can actually do that at home. So we can do kind of flipped classroom, right? Ask the students to do their grammar work at home. Then when we come back into the class or on in your online lesson, we show them the video as a recap. okay? And then we go through and we make sure that they understand. So I really enjoy these grammar videos. Okay, let's have a go at one of these activities, okay? So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, and we're going to be looking at giving health tips. I would like you, okay, into the chat box, I would like you to give me some advice, okay, using the imperative, so either the affirmative or the negative. So tips for dealing with a cold, okay? So for example, don't go to work. Okay, so if you've got a cold at the moment, okay, maybe you've got a cough and a fever, don't go to work. If we want to make that an affirmative imperative, we could say stay at home. Okay, don't drink some cold water, Alan says. Don't play in the rain. You should drink chicken soup. That's great, Maria. Okay, you should drink chicken soup. Nice. But I think this time I want to focus on the imperative. Okay, take some rest. Take vitamin C. Don't drink cold. A lot of people saying don't drink cold water. That's interesting to me. Why should we not drink cold water? Okay, don't go outside. Take your vitamins. Okay, perfect. So we've got a lot of nice suggestions here. Great. And obviously this is an activity you could get students to work in pairs, you can get them to work in groups to share this advice, and you can get them to discuss why, you know, like something like don't drink cold water. For me, that's something that needs to be explained, okay? So we can get people to to explain why they think these tips are important. Okay, great. Let's have a go, okay, at one of these activities. Okay, so we've got advice here for two things, one for staying healthy, and one if you have a cold. I'm going to get my annotate here. I'm going to try and write. Okay, forgive my poor handwriting. So what we're going to do, number 3. So we're giving advice for staying healthy using the imperative. It says number 1 is take vitamins. Number 2, don't eat a lot of junk food. Okay, number 3, it says for 8 to 9 hours a night. And Indulika says sleep. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to write, okay, here. Okay, it's unfortunately, I think because we've got so many people, we've got over 400 people here, it's making Zoom very laggy, so it's difficult for me to write. So I hope you can read that, sleep. How about the next one? We've got your hands often. Lady Caroline says wash. Okay, I'll try one more. Okay, now this is not working very well. Okay, so as you can see, I'm struggling to write here. Okay, I'm struggling there. I'm going to clear it. Okay, and what I'm going to do is we're going to try something else. So let me just get rid of that. And what we would do, we're going to go into the activity itself. And once this loads, okay, we can see the activity here. And I can type. Okay, so we said sleep. Okay, we said wash. Okay, I spelled that wrong. Okay, we said, how about number 5? We said drink a cup of tea. And how about number 6? It says here too much. Okay, too much soda. So we know when we see the word too much, we know it means it's bad, don't we? So if it's bad, we want to make this negative. Okay, right. So don't drink tea. Yes, thank you. A for effort. Thank you very much. So let's check the answers. We've got sleep, wash, drink, and don't drink. So we've got all of these correct. Okay. All right. Now, for the cold, okay, let's go through and do a couple of these, right? So how about number 7? We got to work or school. Okay, so what do we think? To work or school? Which verb are we going to put in here? I think we're going to put don't go. Okay, very nice. Don't go. Okay, aspirin. Okay, so aspirin is a type of pill. It's a type of tablet. And that is why it's countable, okay? Because usually medicine is uncountable, isn't it? But because it's a tablet, it's a countable noun. So what are we going to put here for aspirin? It's a type of pill. Does anyone help me type into the box? Okay, I think I might be experiencing a little bit of lag here because I'm not seeing any answers. Okay, oh, suddenly I've got 19 messages. Right, let me go down. Don't go. Okay, take, there we go. So someone is putting here take, right? Okay, and I think take is probably the right answer. But I often find with my students, when they see medicine, they often go with the verb eat. So I often hear eat some medicine, okay, rather than take. And I just want to share with you, I want to share a nice handy resource, okay, which I use with my students. So we're going to go over to, this website. So I hope you can see at the moment. Can you see my screen? We're on a website called Google Ngram Viewer. Can you see that? Can we see that? The Google
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Right, I've got a severe lag going on at the moment. So I just want to show you something that we can do. If we have these kind of questions, we're not sure, okay, about maybe the collocation, which word to use. So what we can do something very simply here, we can look at an example like, we can put in here, take medicine, and I can put a comma, and I can put eat medicine. Okay, so what this is going to do, Ngram Viewer, it's going to search through all of its corpus of books, all of its ebooks, and it's going to search for how many times these terms are mentioned. So these are published books, so we'd expect them to have correct grammar, correct language. So I'm going to hit return now, and Google's going to see. So, and we can see the results. It's very clear here that take medicine is much more common than down here, eat medicine. So there are some cases of eat medicine, but take medicine is far more common. So we can infer from that that this is the correct usage. Take medicine is correct. What we can do as well, if I click on eat medicine, and if I go down here, I can actually see the examples. So if I click on the examples for eat medicine, and straight away, the first one that we've got here, we can see Su Li. Okay, and we've got here, eat a bowl of tea, and I can see Chinese characters. So the examples of eat medicine that we're getting here are actually coming from Chinese literature. And if we look at the Chinese language, the collocation in Chinese is to eat medicine. So in English, yes, it's direct translation. So in English, we say take medicine. In Chinese, they say eat medicine, and in a lot of Asian languages. So this is, it's interference from L1. So Google Ngram Viewer, it's a really good way to find out for yourself or to show your students. This is why actually we should be saying take and not eat. Let's have another example here, one more. Another one here, there was another example in the activity about soup, okay? So we've got eat soup or drink soup. So what do you think in the chat box? Should we say eat soup? Should we say drink soup? Is there another verb you would use instead? Okay, Alan says, so we've got, okay, so straight away we've got different answers. Some would say drink, some of you would say eat, okay? Is there another verb you would use rather than those two for soup? So let's find out. I'm going to put in here, let's get rid of that. Let's try again. So I'm going to put eat some soup, comma. I'm going to put drink some soup, comma. And I'm going to put one more. I'm going to put have some soup. Okay, I'm going to type that in, and when I hit return, it's going to find for me sip, consume. Okay, very nice. And if I can move my chat box out of the way, which I can't, I can just about see it on my right here. We can see at the top here. So actually, the most common collocation for soup would be have. Have some soup is what we generally use. Eat and drink, according to this, they're both okay. So we can say eat soup and we can say drink some soup, but eat is more commonly used. So we can really get a ranking of how useful or how commonly we use these. One more thing I'm going to show you with Ngram, if we really don't know what the word is, you can just put a wildcard. So if I put a star here, this means it's looking for any word. So I can put some soup, okay? And then when I hit return, enter, it's going to find every word which I can use there. And there we go. If we see now, this is not only looking for verbs, it's looking for any verb. So we've got here you and up. Okay, so up maybe is heat up, eat up. Okay, we can add up to make it a phrasal verb, which is why there are so many. But we can see have is the most common. And then we've got down here, take some soup. Okay, and we've also got make. Okay, make some soup. So have, make, and take are the most common collocations. So I think this is a really nice resource for using with your students, but also using for your with your students or by yourself. Okay, let's go quickly back, okay, into our presentation. So I'm going to go back to a new share, and we're going to go back into our classroom presentation tool. So this one here at the bottom, a bowl of chicken soup. What do you think? Should we be using eat or drink? I'm going to go with eat. Okay, and let's check the answer. It is eat a bowl of chicken soup, don't go to work, take an aspirin, and don't give aspirin to children under 12. There we go. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, that's just a nice couple of activities we can use here with the imperatives. We're going to move on, okay, but before we do, I just want to show you, okay, what else students would have to do. So after they do this, we're going to have personalization activity. They would choose one of these topics. You know, something's relevant to them, then they would work with a partner. They would give advice, okay, give advice using the imperative, okay, using their own health problems, okay. So a nice opportunity for students to discuss and personalize. After that, okay, students have this very nice project lesson where they are going to make a poster, okay, giving advice, okay, strong advice on what to do for a certain situation. So the example here is about smoking, but they can also choose something like how to eat healthy food, how to get in shape, how to protect your skin. So lots of ideas for them to choose, or they can come up with their own idea and make it really personalized. So after they do the grammar, they've got communicative activities, and they've also got project work which they can use. Okay, so a very nice rounded lesson there. Okay, we've got 20 minutes left, so I'm going to move on to our second grammar point. Okay, and I could unmute. I've unmuted. Okay, I just lost. There's so many people here. I got removed from my own webinar, but I'm back. Okay, here we are. So lesson B. Okay, lesson B. We're going to be having a very quick look. Here we go. Okay, right, here we go. So yeah, lesson B is about stress, okay? So let's have a look. I'm going to ask you a question before we go into the grammar here. So the question is, what do you usually do when you feel stressed? Okay, into the chat box, please. What do you usually do when you get stressed? Okay, let's have a couple of answers into the chat box. Welcome back. Thank you. What do you usually do when you get stressed? And for those watching on Facebook Live, okay, you can put your ideas into the chat box. Eat, Alice. Facebooking. Okay, play mobile games. Okay, and these things we do, eat, binge, eat sweet food, play games. Are they good for your health or are they bad for your health? Beer, says Amir. It's a solution. Play with my cat. So in general, these things we do, are they good for your health or bad for your health? Okay, I'm guessing, I can't see, my chat box is very laggy. I'm guessing some of you are saying it's good and some of you are saying bad. I think a lot of the things we tend to do are bad for our health, right? Some of them could be good. This is a nice activity to students to really justify things, okay, use some critical thinking and explain their ideas to their partner. We could expand this, right? We could ask another question. When you feel sad, what do you do? When you feel happy, what do you do? When you feel excited, what do you do? Okay, so we can expand this as much as we want, give students lots of practice in this structure before we actually go in and introduce the grammar point that we're looking at, which we're going to have a quick look at now. Okay, so we are looking at when clauses, all right? And I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier. I'm going to play you the video, and we're going to discuss the video as we watch it. Okay, so this is a grammar point called when clauses. Now, as you're watching, I want you to think about, there is a very similar grammar point which I have taught 100 times in my teaching career, and we called it something else. We didn't call it a when clause. Okay, so I just want you to watch and think about which other grammar point does this remind you of. I'm just going to pause that there. So we're talking about something happening as a result of something else. Okay, so we have one action happens first, and then we have a result. Okay, so we have a cause and we have an effect. Point number one.
Will, can you share sound, please?
Aha. Thank you. That must have, when I got kicked out, that must have, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just taking a few seconds to start again.
When I drink coffee, I can't sleep.
Okay, I'm going to pause it here, right? Okay, so we've got two clauses. It's very clear here. We've got a when clause and we've got a result clause. And Cynthia has put in here conditionals, right? And this essentially, if I replace the word when with another word, we have got the zero conditional. So yeah, that's right. So if I replace when with if, we're looking at basically the zero conditional. So the zero conditional is something that we use to talk about something that generally happens, something that usually happens. It's a generalization as a result of something else. But when the way that the zero conditional is usually presented, we have an if clause and we call it a main clause. And this is the way it's always presented. And that is not very useful for the student. So here we've changed this. This is the result clause. So straight away, it's very easy for students to remember the result is the one that is not where when is. Okay, I think it's very clear. The other thing that I think is useful is here we've got an example. When I drink coffee, I can't sleep. And we can see this because we're using the word when, it is something that feels like it really does happen, right? When I drink coffee. Most of the books I've been using before with the zero conditional, it uses sentences like, if you heat water to 100 degrees, it boils, right? You've probably seen this example before in a grammar book or something. If you heat water to 100 degrees, it boils. So for me, there's a problem with that. To start with, everybody knows that, right? And secondly, how many times in your life have you really said in a conversation with someone, if you heat water to 100 degrees, it boils? Okay, it's almost abstract. We would never say that, right? We never talk about that. But this is a sentence that we might actually use, right? Because it's true for a lot of people. When I drink coffee, I can't sleep. Okay, the other example for zero conditional is something like, if it rains, I take my umbrella, right? Something like that. And again, if it rains, no, when it rains, okay? You take your umbrella because it's raining. So it should be when it rains, I take my umbrella. And the result clause, I take my umbrella. So it's natural, it's clear, it's easier for the students to understand, and it's something we actually use. So yeah, it's the zero conditional, right? But when clause, we're calling it something different. The other thing, if we say zero conditional, students automatically ask you, what's the first conditional? What's the difference between first and second conditional? And you get all these questions coming in. This solves that problem. It's just the when clauses, okay? And you can focus on that without any distraction. Okay, let's watch the rest of the video. A bit of lag, sorry, a few seconds for it to start. Here we go.
The present tense is used in both the when clause and the result clause. A time clause can come at the beginning of a sentence.
When I drink coffee, I can't sleep.
A when clause can also come at the end of a sentence. A comma is used when the when clause comes first. No comma is used when the when clause comes at the end of the sentence.
Great. So as Alan asked, can we swap over the clauses? Yes, we can. We can have the when clause first, or we can have the when clause second. The meaning does not change. We just need to add a comma when the when clause is first. So again, this video, so clearly presented, okay? So simple, so refreshing, I think, in the way that grammar is often presented in other books, you know, that it's complicated, it's difficult. This is very clear, very easy for students to understand, and a relevant example sentence that people can relate to. So I really feel that the grammar, the way that grammar is presented in WorldLink is really fantastic. We've put a lot of thought into how we present it, and these videos make it so much better. Yeah, so there we go. So this is our when clause grammar presentation. We only have 10 minutes left, so very quickly, let's just have a look at an example here. So what students have to do next, they have to give their own examples, okay? So let's just have a couple of examples in the chat box. Okay, let's pick one. So how about this one? When I meet new people, okay? When I meet new people. So can you put in a couple of examples in the chat box? What do you do? When you meet new people, what do you do? So we want a sentence in the present tense. When I meet new people, and then tell me what you do. I will say hi. Okay, so Katharina, we don't want to use will. Okay, so will would make it the future tense. Okay, so that would actually be the first conditional. So what we want to use is present tense. So when I meet new people, I say hi. When I meet new people, I smile. When I meet new people, someone's put I got. Okay, so that's past tense. So we want to use the present tense. I get shivers. Okay, when I meet new people, I smile. Great. I am curious. Perfect. Okay. When I meet new people, I smile so often. I feel excited. I am happy. I ask their name. There we go. I feel so worried. And it's interesting. We get such a wide variety of answers here. And this is why it's interesting for students to discuss. First, they complete the answers by themselves. Then they can discuss in a group. And we often find we get a lot of interesting questions, a lot of interesting discussion. Okay, there we go. Right. Now, I'm conscious of the time. Okay, so we can't do any more of the activities, but I will point out here, after they do this, after they studied the grammar, they have a writing task, and they are actually going to, they're going to write some advice to somebody. So they have a writing task here based on one of these issues. Okay, and then later they have a communication activity, which is a role play, where they kind of discuss a problem that they have. So again, yeah, we're going from controlled to less controlled, and then we have a communication activity at the end, and it's a really well-structured lesson. Okay, now we're going to go back quickly. We've got 10 minutes left, so I'm just going to go back into my slide presentation. Okay, just give me a second. Here we go. Let's try again. If you ever give a webinar with over 400 people, you are going to find that Zoom slows down significantly, and everything takes a little bit longer. Okay, here we go. We are back in slideshow. Here we go. So I just want really to give you a little bit more information about the program we've looked at today, so which is WorldLink. So WorldLink, as I mentioned earlier, it is one of our adult programs, okay? And you can see here that there are four levels, and this is the third edition. It covers all skills, okay, speaking, reading, listening, writing. It has grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and we've seen a lot of those things today. WorldLink, it has sort of building blocks. So really, the way WorldLink is structured, it focuses on vocabulary. So dynamic vocabulary, real vocabulary that people need, okay, high frequency vocabulary, and it focuses on essential grammar that people need to use that vocabulary. And the way this is presented, it's presented in interesting topics that engage people. There are lots of wonderful images, as we saw earlier, but all of the vocabulary and grammar is given with the aim for students to use it in communication. So there's always this build up throughout the lesson. First, they've got the vocabulary they need, they've got the grammar, and then we practice it. And there are several practice activities going from more controlled to less controlled and ending with a large communication or a project activity. There's something that this is actually not in the student book itself. So WorldLink has a fantastic video program. The warm-up video is in the student book, but these other three, so there are 5 videos in every unit, if you include the grammar video. Actually, there are 2 grammar videos, so 6 videos in every unit. And these ones, Good Morning World, this is like a chat show. We've got like a sitcom, and we've got this one, which I really like, where they're interviewing native speakers and non-native speakers, and they're giving their viewpoints on things. So for example, they'll give their viewpoints on health, you know, in the unit we just looked at. And this is especially useful for students because a lot of these speakers are non-native speakers, and that is a real situation for most of our learners learning English. They will be talking to other non-native speakers. So they will be exposed to a variety of different accents, a variety of different ways that people speak English. And it also reinforces the point that English is a world language. It's not just for British and American people, it is for people worldwide, and this really reinforces that. All of these extra videos, they come with their own individual worksheets, which are Word documents you can download and print off. And yeah, they can be used to support the student book, or they can be used independently. We're not going to watch this, we don't have time. That was actually an example of one of the videos. I want to mention quickly WorldLink Online. So as well as the student book and the ebook, we also have a complete online version of the workbook. And teachers can use the LMS system to assign homework, to track progress, and students have access to all of the audio, all of the video, all of the resources they need on this online My WorldLink Online, okay? And teachers can track them through the learning management system. This includes actually speaking activities, which are very useful. As we've been looking today at WorldLink 3rd edition, we actually have the 4th edition, which is coming out very, very soon. The 4th edition, the level 3 here, will be available in November this year, and the rest of the levels will be released early next year, okay? So the 4th edition, which will be even better than the 3rd version, okay? So based on customer feedback, okay, we're bringing out a new edition, so I'm very excited about this. I'm going to ask you now very quickly the final poll. I've just given you some information about WorldLink, and I'm putting the poll up here. If you would like some more information, oh, I've put here the LET program. It's not, so this should be WorldLink. If you would like some more information about WorldLink that we've been looking at today, can you just hit yes right now, okay? And then we will get in touch with you and we will give you some more information about this fantastic program. If you're on Facebook, okay, if you're watching us live on Facebook, we will actually send you a survey, and I will ask Sophia to put that survey link into the chat box, into the comment box for you now. And if you do that survey, there is an option there for us to send you more information, okay? So please click that if you would like it. While I'm talking about the survey, if you do the survey, there will be a link to the certificate, the e-certificate, and you will be able to download your certificate, your e-certificate, at the end of the survey. So those of you in the Zoom webinar today, we will send you a follow-up email tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow you will get a link to the survey. Follow that link, fill in the short survey, you will get your e-certificate, okay? You will also get a link to the recording, okay? A recording of this session. Those of you watching on Facebook Live, we you will be able to watch a recording of the session on Facebook, okay, on our Facebook page. We will also add this into our onto our webinar page. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Can someone please, Andrew or Sophia, can you please post into the chat box now? Can you post our webinar page? And if you follow the link, okay, to our webinar page, you will be able to register for our 2 upcoming webinars. So Mr. Andrew Tiffany tomorrow is doing one, a very interesting webinar on using a learning management system for young learners. And I've put here 9 a.m. Singapore time. It's actually twice. It will be 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. So you will have 2 choices for this one. We also have another webinar coming up, Mr. Alex Warren, okay, on the 14th of October. This is one of our world webinars, all right? So you can also sign up for this webinar here using the classroom presentation tool, which I've been using today. Okay, I'm going to end the poll there if Zoom allows me to. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think it has ended. There we go. We can see, fantastic. We've got 300 of you would like more information. That's amazing. So time has been limited. It is actually the end of the hour now. So I understand if people have to go. I am now going to spend a few minutes having a look at some of the questions that we've got. So I'm going to spend a few minutes. I'm going to continue. If you have to drop off, then that's fine. You can. If you have some time, you can stay and watch for a bit longer. So I've got a question here from Neil, which is talking about when clauses. He says, I was just wondering if we can also use whenever to that clause. So can we say, whenever I drink coffee, I can't sleep? And the answer is yes, you can. So you can use when and you can use whenever, basically interchangeably between, in the when clause. So that's absolutely fine. Whenever I drink coffee, I can't sleep, no problem. I've got another question here from Natasha. Will everyone have a PDF of Will's presentation? So Natasha, we don't send out a PDF, and the reason why is because almost all of my presentation was done using the classroom presentation tool. So I can't send you a PDF of that because it's a different piece of software. So we don't send out, because the PDF would really only be the welcome slides and the outro slides. So we don't do it. But what we do send you is we send you the recording. So you will have a recording of the session. So anything that you want, you can watch the recording and you can take a screenshot of a particular, you can pause, take a screenshot, and that's what you can have. Okay, great.
Well,
yes.
Well, maybe if we could get the just the grammar slide that you showed. Remember that you had the A through G grammar points. I could send that out on the emails.
Okay, sure. Okay,
well.
so yeah, so the sentence stem. Okay, so yeah, that's a good idea, Andrew. So we will send out the sentence stem sort of scaffolding activity that I made. We can send that out as an example for you, you know, so that you would be able to use that in your lesson, or perhaps you'd be able to create your own for different language functions. Things like giving opinions, that's another one that I usually hand out the sentence stems for. Alden is asking about the certificate, so I'll say once more, the certificate will be, you will get the certificate after you complete the survey, and the survey link will be sent to you in an email tomorrow. So check your email tomorrow, check your junk mail, your junk mail, to make sure it's not in there. Find the email from us, okay? It will either be from me, William Lachette, or it will be from National Geographic Learning. And then do the survey, and then you can download the e-certificate. Here we go. Is WorldLink about English only? I want to use it for my lesson, but I'm a math teacher. So Sheila, WorldLink is an English language program, but it has general English topics. It has topics from a variety of different themes and topics. It is not based on maths, but it's based on English language, but it does have a good variety of topics in there. how to access Classroom Presentation Tool. So the Classroom Presentation Tool is not a free piece of software. It is a very powerful piece of software, and it is available for teachers using the WorldLink program. So if your school, if your organization is using WorldLink, then you will have access to the Classroom Presentation Tool. You can get it on a thumb drive, okay, or you can get it, we can actually organize it to be delivered digitally, okay, as a download, but it's only for teachers using the program of WorldLink. Are there any online courses here? So Francis, we don't have any online courses for teachers, but we have webinars every week, okay, or roughly every week. Usually they're on Wednesdays. So keep an eye on our Facebook page. You know, like our Facebook page, and you'll be able to keep track of when our webinars are coming up, and they're all free. All of our webinars are free. You don't have to pay anything. Neil is asking, do we have a webinar on tenses, different verb tenses? At the moment, Neil, we don't have one planned on different verb tenses, but if grammar is something that teachers are very interested in, if you leave a comment on the survey, if a lot of people mention they would like to do verb tenses, then that is something we can look into for a future webinar. So please leave the feedback on the survey. You wonder, you're asking about the e-certificate. The e-certificate will be sent to you in an email tomorrow. There will be a link to the survey. Okay, do the survey, and then you will see, you will have the e-certificate. What's the Facebook page? The Facebook page, you can see on the screen right now. It's ELT NGL Asia. Okay, Mark? ELT NGL Asia. You can see it in the bottom left of your screen here. ELT NGL Asia. If you go there, you will see the live Facebook live recording there. Lady Caroline is asking if we have webinars related to science. We don't specifically have science webinars, but we do have content which is related to science. Mr. Andrew Tiffany did one recently on the water cycle and on water, which from our program Reach Higher. So if you go to our webinar page, you will be able to search through our past webinars. And if you look for the one on Reach Higher, it's called Water. This one is about science. It's about the water cycle. So have a look through our past webinars, and I'm sure you will be able to find a webinar which is useful and interesting to you. The link to the survey, Gretchen, will be sent out tomorrow. It will be sent to your email, and that's where you can find the link. The video, Riza, the video will be sent in a link tomorrow, okay, to your email, all right? So keep an eye on your email.
Actually, I think Riz is asking about the videos, the grammar videos from the presentation, Will, which are part of the Classroom Presentation Tool, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so the grammar videos that I use, oh, I see. Okay, yeah, the grammar videos, they are available on the Classroom Presentation Tool, or they are available on the, we have a companion site for teachers. So if you are using the program as a teacher, if your school is using it, you will have access to the website, and you can also access all of the videos, all of the resources on that website. Okay, and what time is it now? It's almost 10 past. Okay, any more questions? How about a webinar related to speech and oral communication? So Jocelyn, yeah, keep an eye on our webinar page. A lot of our webinars have ideas related to communicative activities and speaking. So keep an eye on the upcoming webinars, and I'm sure you will see that we have something based around speaking skill and how to use that in class or in your online lessons. Is there a webinar to develop writing skills, to write formal letters? We don't have one planned on writing formal letters at the moment. We did have a webinar last week on writing topic sentences. So a recent one we did, Andrew did last week, writing topic sentences. At the moment, no plan for one on formal letters. But again, the same for Mayville about figurative language. if there's something you particularly would like to see us do, if you leave it in a comment in the survey, then if we get enough people requesting it, I'm sure we can look into doing that as a future webinar. Okay, if you want to register for tomorrow's webinar, just go to our webinar page, which I'm going to put again into the chat box here. Here we go. I can't do it. My computer's lagging so much. I can't. Can someone put the webinar page into the chat box again? Ah, here we go. I got it. Okay, there we go. It's there. All right, thank you. Wisnu's already done it. There we go. Here is our webinar page. Okay, sign up for future ones. I am going to stop recording now. There we go. I'm going to stop recording.